Everybody, Jill here. Welcome to my channel. You've landed on Jill and Beauty Therapy, and we're going to be working with a really affordable brand today and a sprinkling of maybe a couple other drugstore brands as well as non-drugstore brands. But the majority of this look today, we're going to be using Catrice. I have been really curious about this brand for some time. A lot of pieces in this line get excellent reviews, and so those are the ones that I'm kind of focusing on today. But we are going to troubleshoot a little today because I have worn this makeup now for just a few days, and I've noticed there's something that I really have to do in order to enjoy this makeup. So we're going to be doing that today. I'm going to go ahead and show you right now a little preview of what I've created today to see if it's a look that you would like to stick around for. All right, so let's get to it. Now, you know, I am an esthetician, and I have to say that a lot of success that you're going to be getting from any makeup that you use is prepping your skin, especially when you hit around 45 and up. It depends really on your aging journey and where you are in it. Can hit some of us a lot sooner than others, and later vice versa. Nonetheless, I have found prepping the skin is more important than ever these days. And so I'll go ahead and just put down below in the description box what I did today. And it's just so important. It helps your makeup throughout the day, and it acts as a really nice nourishing piece to your skincare ritual anyway. And it's much better, in my opinion, than using primers and whatnot. It's the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. This color is in 030. I think it's called Sandy Beige or something of that effect. I have worn this once or twice already, and I think the color is okay. These are my absolute favorite makeup sponges, hands down. They're very affordable. They're by e.l.f. and you can find them anywhere, obviously, where e.l.f. would be sold. I order mine online. You can pick them up at Target, probably Walmart, all of those major stores. So they're real easy to find. And I have to tell you, they are fabulous. So these are lovely. And it's the only way that I lately, for a while now, have been applying whatever the foundation is that I'm using. And I'm just going to let this dropper just sort of put that right on my sponge. I just am very curious about it. So I think I hit a great color once again. I think I'm been really lucky with that lately. It might be just a little too orange for me, this particular, beige generally does kind of, I don't know what I was thinking getting a beige color, but it works pretty well. And I kind of just went with the swatch that I saw on my computer screen. So it is a blind way to order your foundation, I have to say. It can be frustrating. Now, I would say that this definitely is more of a light coverage. Now, because I do have a really light lipid serum underneath this with a little boost of hydration, it's going along pretty nicely. I have a little bit of that natural glow going underneath because of the skincare that I'm using. So that's nice because I'm not about matte foundation. But I would say this is definitely on the lighter coverage side. If you do struggle with sort of that oil breakthrough through the day, you might benefit from a formulation like this. I happen to think it's really healthy to have some oil breakthrough through the day. That means your skin is doing its job. I don't feel like it's necessary to quell that and to be really hypersensitive about the natural oils that break through. As an esthetician, I would ask my clients about what time of the day do you notice that oil breakthrough. If it's quite early in the morning, like 10 a.m., then okay. You're either using something too rich or you just have a natural tendency to be a little oily. Something like this foundation could be helpful in that way. But if it's, more afternoon, 2, 3, 4, you're starting to see that oil breakthrough, that is completely healthy. And it means that your skin is producing a good amount of a healthy amount, I should say, of its natural sebum, which means you have healthy skin, and that gives you that glowy, pretty look, and it's really healthy for your skin. So That's just my little input there. So I have also found that it takes a little more. It's quite a watery foundation, not super pigmented, so it does take a little more. If you notice, I had to go and kind of load this twice. Normally, I don't ever have to do that. I'm even going to go in and just see if this is a little bit buildable. If you know me, you know I'm not really looking for full coverage at all, but I do want to mute out some of my pigmentation right through here, up around my nose. And if I'm just pouncing and kind of lightly feathering and moving this, I do think this is somewhat buildable. Probably could compare this to the Tarte Water Foundation. I do think that particular foundation has a little more pigment to it, which is why it takes less, I think, really to do a good job in giving you some good medium coverage. Whereas this definitely has less. It's going to take maybe a little bit more of the product itself to get covered around on, move it around and get some coverage there. And you may have to go in and do a little extra here and there. This is a 24-hour foundation. It claims that it will give you a really nice look throughout the day, up to 24 hours. So funny enough, I've only worn this 2 other times and I've not paid too much attention about that. So I am going to pay more attention to see how this does throughout the day. All right, so I'm sorry guys, but if you watched my other sort of full face tutorial with drugstore makeup, affordably priced makeup, I did this as well. I'm sorry, but I just found this concealer is excellent for mature eye tissue. We get crepiness, we get those fine lines, flat out wrinkling going on there. The texture is very thin, and it's hard to find a nice concealer for our mature eye tissue. And I tell you what, it's the best one that I have found so far because it gives me great coverage. I have freckling, kind of under my eyes here. I'm getting darker than ever before. So I'm looking for coverage, definitely, with my concealer, but I don't want it to be heavy or cakey at all. So this one does a pretty great job, actually, at checking those boxes for me. And this is in Snow. For me, this is the color Snow, and this is the Too Faced Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. Fabulous. So while you may save money in all these other places, you may want to spring for this if you have mature skin. If you're younger, your criteria isn't quite as it is for us, and you can get away with less expensive, or just you don't have to be quite so picky. But I tell you what, when you find a concealer at my age that you really like, I'm not looking to replace it. So I love this e.l.f. Once again, guys, this is an e.l.f. sponge. This is one that I probably need to wash. Here is a new one. And they're lovely. I love the size of this. I can sort of pinch it, really get it in. The texture of this one is even finer, more fine than even this. So it does not transfer a weird texture onto this really delicate, thin eye tissue, disturbing that application process. I tend to kind of press it in with my own warm finger at the end anyway, but this really moves it around nicely. It feels soft, and I love this sponge for concealer. Really, less is best, I think, for us. So experiment with sort of that, the application amount that you need to give the look that you desire, and just kind of shoot for the least amount that it will take. Now, I have broken capillaries right around here in my nostrils. Many of us do. They're called telangiectasia. And so if I find that I'm not getting that so well with the foundation, and I'm kind of seeing that with this particular foundation, then whatever I have sort of left on my sponge, I will just kind of tap it in over that. And then when I do my setting powder, it'll kind of set that in there. And just, I don't know, that's what I do. All right, so non-drugstore product. Sorry. We're going to go right to setting. And again, I'm going to be using the HD Baking and Setting Loose Powder by Catrice. These do come in colors, and I think there is also just a translucent choice, but I wanted to try the warm ivory. So this has a little bit of pigment to it. Normally I don't do that. I sort of look at either cooling down or warming up my complexion with finishing powders, not so much the setting powder, but I wanted to try this. So I usually pounce. I pounce first. And I'm gonna go ahead and set my concealer with this powder as well. Now, with setting powders, because I do have to set my makeup, I have grown to have to be picky about it. I never used to be, but because I have mature skin, I am actually really picky about my setting powder. I don't like a matte look. To me, it ends up looking chalky. And I have to say, that's what I have been seeing with this. I don't know if it's the combination of using it with the foundation. Maybe if I used sort of a different type of foundation with this setting powder, I would see less of that. But I do see this sort of chalkiness that I don't like. But we are going to problem solve that a little bit. All right, blush. So Catrice, I bought 3 different Catrice blushes today. Let me go ahead and show them to you. I like the idea of these. These are waterproof and sweat-proof blushes. It's the color 050. This is Burgundy. So we are going to sort of contour a little bit with this, and then I'm going to leave all of this open for doing something else with. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and load this. And I'm going to place this just kind of as if I were really just contouring. Really want to soften the edges though. We don't want any kind of stark stops and starts in any part of our makeup, really. All right, and then I'm going to take that powder brush that does have some of that powder on it, and I'm going to soften that. All right, let's bronze ourselves. It is summer. Let's look a little sun-washed if you're fair like me. That's always a good thing. So let's try out this Physicians Formula multicolored bronzer here. This is the light, I do believe. It looks like a little honeycomb, and it's got all these different colors in it. There's nothing in this though, if I can open it, there we go. So there's nothing in this that is going to give any sort of luminosity though. So we're gonna add to the mattifying effect, but don't worry, it's just all gonna happen. So I'm just gonna swirl. I'm gonna swirl this, just swirl it all around, pick up all the different colors. There's even some pink in there that I think is hopefully going to be kind of nice. And I'm going to go around here, around the edges, down here in my neck. I think I'll go across my cheeks a little bit. So I'm not putting this anywhere in here because I want to leave this bright. We're going to brighten up there and here, and we're even going to kind of do a little something here as well. You know why I like to keep this bright mainly? I like to brighten the center of my face in general, but really it's because I have quite the expression lines in my forehead. So the idea is, that if we do something light there, with maybe even has a little luminosity, that light will bounce back out of those wrinkles and make them look a little less noticeable. That's a little trick for you. This is sort of a glowy something. This is the 020 Rose Glow by Revlon. Bit of a highlighter, blush situation, I guess you could say. I'm going to utilize it as a highlighter, so I'm going to actually use my highlighter brush here. I think I'm just going to sort of go here in the bottom 3. I'm not going to get this bright pink strip here, but I'm going to take it through the bottom 3. And we are going to just do it right in through here. And my goodness, is that pretty? That is really pretty. I'm really liking that. It gives me some color. Again, kind of look like we've been out in the sun a little bit, but I'm getting a little bit of that luminosity that I do like. Really pretty. Put some of that here and maybe a little here. All right. I'm going to do something that I do from time to time if I'm looking and I'm like, you know, for the most part, I feel like this is quite mattifying. I feel like it's going to really just, as the day goes on, might settle, make me look very chalky and cakey. I'm going to go in now with a cucumber spritz. This is a humectant. So use any kind of fine mist humectant sort of hydrating spray. I highly recommend something with hyaluronic acid in it. This has cucumber humectant, hyaluronic acid, the mother of humectants, along with some glycerin, really nice, and you know, all of these humectants that are going to work through the day and pull any sort of humidity in the air and sock it in to my skin. However, it's best if you're doing it, it's best to do this on clean skin, obviously, right? Before makeup. I'm using it as a little bit of sort of a setting sort of mist, if you will, and it is going to give me a dewy look right away and throughout the day. Use this before you start your eye makeup, definitely before you put mascara on. And do you see what it did right away? If you put this in the refrigerator, it's going to feel so refreshing. So now I'm going to take my sponge and I'm not going to do anything but kind of press it in. And right away, I just like what I see and it feels good. So let's move on now. On to the eyes, my favorite thing to do. This is called Self-Made Beige, and it is a Catrice palette. I've never ever used this. This is I thought it looked really pretty. It's got a really great mirror on it. I mean, I don't ever use those mirrors, but you know, if you do, I just thought I'd let you know it's quite clear and it's a good size. First thing I like to do, as a painter would know, is I like to do an all-over wash. This is like a gesso, if you can relate to that. And it creates a wonderful starting place, a nice clean canvas that's going to make all the other colors easier to apply, easier to blend. And that's so important if you have crepey eye tissue. I have had to tweak the way I apply my eye makeup over the years. And one of the big huge saving graces for me is realizing doing this all over wash makes the entire process so much easier for my eyes. So generally I do like to use more of a matte shade for this all over wash. So let's see what we have here. So we're going to go in with this. It's called Self-Made, upper left corner right there. That's what we're going to use today. I'm going to load again. Not the greatest payoff. Even these lighter colors, I still want to see it, man. I want to see it. I want good payoff with my wash colors as well. There is a color in here called Slay. It's right next to it. It's quite pearly, and I love using those in the center of my mobile lid. And even kind of in the corner part of my mobile lid. We'll see the payoff of this as well. I'm going to load my ring finger. Well, it looks good on that, but we'll see. Oh, wow. That's really good payoff, actually. That's a nice surprise. Very nice. Yeah. I definitely don't want it down here, so I'm going to wipe it away. Very pretty. It's very subtle. It's very pretty. I'm just going to go straight across because there is a glittery gold going on here, and I do have some gold. I don't know if you can see it, but I do have some gold in this dress I'm wearing today. So you know what? We're going to go ahead and use this color. We're going to go in with HBIC right here. I'm going to load my pinky this time. I'm going to put this really just in the center of my mobile lid and bring it up a little. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoo, that's pretty. This palette is really redeeming itself from the very first impression that I had with that first color. Wow. Okay. Here. I'm going to jump down to the bottom row here. I have to use Queen. I mean, that's got to happen just for the mere name of it alone. I'm going to load this just real careful. I'm not sure now that I'm going into these darker colors what to expect, both in what the fallout's going to look like and or the pigment situation. So I'm really tapping that off really well. And I'm going to go in with a very light hand. So hold it toward the bottom here. And I'm just going to start with very light sort of packing, pressing movements here. So just play it safe and load it, tap it off really well, and go in with a really light touch. The reason why I'm packing and pressing ever so lightly here is because I don't want a lot of skipping. Crepiness tends to be challenging that way. And, I want to be in control of this, and I want to put it where I want it. And I also want to be careful about flicking. That's going to go everywhere if it's really powdery eyeshadow, and I just don't know. It went on really well, and using those techniques, it's working out really great with this. So I'm really pressing it in. Being really careful not to go down too low over here, because that really draws the whole look down, and our eyes and our face, really. So I'm really concentrating it right here. The majority of that first touch and where that pigment's going to be going is just right around here, on me at least. And then I kind of can move it around, move it over, soften the lines, and then I can have a better sort of controlled experience with this. It's very pretty. I thought it was going to be a little too orange for me, but it's gorgeous, this color. Not a lot of pigment left on my brush, so I'm going to use it and really soften these edges. I'm going to look over here, soften that, soften this top edge, kind of bring it and contour just a little bit with it. And again, just really softening this out. I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to wipe it off down here, and I'm going to go into the one right directly across, and it's called Role Model. Role Model, same brush. Gonna go in, I'm just tapping it really lightly in there. And I'm gonna really, really, really tap that off super well. And I'm gonna take it right here at the edge. Okay, not a lot of payoff here, which is fine. Just gonna load a little more, still gonna tap it off really well. And it's buildable, definitely buildable, and that's okay. That's okay. That's kind of what we want. So we're gonna pounce, tap really well, and really put it where we want it. Just keep doing that. So just a lot of packing, tapping. You can move it around when you do that. Wiping that off, I'm going to take my sort of floofy blending brush, and I'm going to wipe that off in between and blend that. I did get a little fallout there, so I'm going to just sort of brush that away. I'm going to go here. This is called Equal Pay. Equal Pay. Gonna go ahead and load this the same way, tapping it all around and then really tapping it off. Go in with my 5-time smear. It's going to have to happen now. And I'm going to really sort of, once again, add yet another layer of dimension. Not going to take this color up as high as we did the one prior, but I am going to lay it into my natural crease a little ways. I'm going to stop right about here because I still want this to be really bright and pretty. And I'm going to soften those edges. We're going to go in with this color underneath the lower lash line. It's called Hustle, and I'm going to load my little dome brush because I want this to be smoky, and it's going to go right underneath that lower lash line. So with this application, really, you're going to want to bring it down lower than you think you should. You do, and it's going to look not right until we finish the look, and then even until we get our brows on, you know. So don't panic at this point. This is oftentimes where I lose people, and they're like, "Oh my God, you ruined it. What are you doing?" And just hang in there. Don't panic yet. It does come together. All right, so to stick with that affordable makeup sort of theme that we're doing today, we're going to go ahead and go in and tight line underneath the upper lash line with this Essence. This is in black. It's their long lasting eye pencil. And I love these kind that you do not have to sharpen. You just twist the bottom, and they're my favorite. I love when there's no sharpening involved. So this is the blackest black they make, because that's what I like. And as for long lasting, it's fine. It really, it's not like, it didn't make me go, holy mackerel, that is the longest lasting eye pencil I've ever used. No, but it works really well for tight lining. However, I'm jumping the gun here. Got to curl the lashes first. Curling your lashes opens up your eyes, and it also makes it super easy to tight line. So let's curl our lashes. I say this a lot with tight lining, but it is really one of the best tips, the best makeup tips. It's up there for mature eyes. I am not going to waterline with this particular look. Sorry, I got to comb through my brows. So no waterlining. I am going to go to really my go-to. This is my favorite mascara, drugstore or not, and it is the L'Oreal Air Volume. This is in black. And yes, I like it better than Lash Paradise. Didn't care for that one that much. This one is, to me, more of a dupe for my used to be favorite Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. This to me is a better dupe than the Lash Paradise. All right, it's brow time, and I'm afraid to say that I am going to be using All Benefit products. It's what I've been using for years, and it is just my go-to, and I do not have an alternative for you quite yet. I am trying to find one or several, because I use several products in the Benefit line for my brows, but I'm going to be doing my brows right now. I'm not going to be putting it in this video, but I will put a link, several actually, because I have a few brow videos and how I use my Benefit products. So I will put those links down below in the description box. All in all, I love this look today. On my lips, I finished it off with a NYX lip liner. I'll put the color of it down below in the description box. I couldn't read it. And also for my lips, I used a gorgeous Milani lipstick. These are vegan friendly. It's in the color Dolce Carmelo, and it is gorgeous. Don't think I have ever tried this color. It's been in my collection for a while. I have quite a few of these lipsticks, and they're lovely. My final thoughts, I'm just not in love with at least the combination that I used with the Catrice, the particular foundation I used with the setting powder. A little too chalky for me, and so I fixed it. I definitely problem solved that with a really nice hydrating spritzing water that just immediately turned that look around. I'm not in love with it. I think I need to try the setting powder with a different foundation so I don't rule that out. The texture of the powder is lovely. I just need to try it, I think, with some other foundations. As for the HD 24-hour foundation that I tried, not a fan, not for my skin at least. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope, as always, you take away at least one little tip that you're excited to try for yourself. The eyeshadows, loved that palette. I love the colors. It gave me a beautiful look. I can't wait to play with that palette even more. Beautiful, absolutely. Well worth the money for that. All right, guys, until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.